St-Pierre predicted Ilia Topuria will end his career as UFC's undisputed GOAT. That's big praise. Not to mention that's big praise from the actual GOAT. He's saying he's going to pass the torch to Ilia Topuria. Now, what would that look like? What would Ilia have to do to be the GOAT? What would he have to do? He's already a two-division champion. I really think that the BMF, right? He fought the BMF champion. I just think it would add to the story if he had captured all three already. But okay, let's operate within what we've got. What would he have to do to be the GOAT? And let's look at 155. Let's give Ilia that he cleaned out 145. Let's give him that. We can fantasize about a rematch with Volk. But the one thing that we have to acknowledge as fans is Volk's never asked for a rematch. Volk's got nothing to do at 45 that anybody wants to see. This is all pretend. We're pretending. But we would like to see him go up to 55. That would be interesting if Volk, much like he challenged Islam, challenged Ilia. I digress. I'm sharing Volk's dominance at 45 and the fact that Ilia has a win over him. But that win brings into question that they'd only completed one round, and that round was won by Volk. So many of us are going to say, well, did you really clean out 45? We kind of seem to see the Volk fight again. You caught him at the right time. He'd just been knocked out by... But we lose the right to have that discussion and not just crown Ilia the greatest 45-pounder ever. We lose that right when the principal, who's Volk, never said, I want to try that again. It's relevant. It's very relevant to the story. If everybody just sat down and goes, this is the best guy, we don't have a debate. We got nothing to fight about. So when that happens, we've got to listen. So if we say Volk is the greatest of all time, which, by the way, I heard on TV 1 week ago, and I came on this channel and I repeated 1 week ago, do I have the right to say that? After Ilia stomped him out in decisive fashion inside of 8 minutes. Shouldn't I say that Ilia is the greatest 45-pounder of all time? Why would Ilia have to beat 9 guys? Why would he have to beat guys' records or beat more guys than Jose Aldo? Who cares? What difference does it make? Shouldn't we say that Ilia is the greatest 45-pounder of all time? Because we don't. We say it about the guy that Ilia shut off in less than 8 minutes. Fair enough. All right, we're at 155. What do we have to do to say that Ilia is the greatest 155-pounder of all time? I believe that would currently go to Khabib. And I do know that I hear some hardcore, some older guys say BJ Penn. So I think in a discussion, I think Khabib's gonna win that. Because after all, it's just a popularity. It's a vote. So what is it that Khabib did that Ilia's got to do? And I don't think that's just title defenses, by the way. I think it's the way you win. I think it's the dominance. And can Ilia, and this is a very relevant question that I'm about to ask you. Can Ilia be the GOAT operating in the same time, the same era as Islam if those two never meet? As impressive as what Ilia has done, wouldn't you have to say Islam's done the same thing? And wouldn't you be forced to say that? Ilia's had one match at 155 pounds, and he won the world title. Islam's had one match at welterweight, and he won the title. So if Islam keeps going, he's a two-division champion. How does Ilia surpass him? And there's a way, right? First off, Islam has a loss. What do you want to do? Everybody, right? It's one of those things. What do you want to do with that? You want to hold that against him? You want to act like that doesn't speak to his greatness as opposed to him getting caught in one moment? And what do you want to do? but eventually you're going to be forced to say, well, he's got a loss and he doesn't. You also do have the timeline that Ilia came to that weight class calling out Islam. Islam publicly said no to that fight and went to 170. That statement right there cost me a relationship with Islam Makhachev, by the way. I don't think I've ever told you guys that story. Islam does not like that I make that statement, but that statement is 100% the way it happened. I can't do anything about that. Islam was the champion of 155. Now, he was looking at 170. He wanted to leave the weight class, but he didn't. He was the champion. And Ilia relinquished, moved to the division, not knowing that Islam was going to leave, fully believing he was going to have to fight and beat Islam. And that is exactly what Ilia tried to do. He went to the media. He worked very hard. He put a finger in Islam's chest to the point that Khabib had to respond. And Khabib said, we're not going to fight him. We're not going to fight him because he's not a 55-pounder. He has to do something, and then we will fight him. He has to do something with somebody. Get a ranking somewhere, and then we'll fight you. But right now, you're not in the rankings. Fair enough. This was their position. But if we have nothing else, right, if time goes by and these guys never touch one another, we are going to have to default back to that. That one guy tried to do it and was willing and said, I can beat you, and the other guy said, I'm not going to fight you. We're forced to. We can't deny these things. So what would Ilia have to do? And I don't think it's as simple as go, okay, he's got to beat Sarukian, and he's got to defeat Gaethje, and he's got to handle this business with Paddy the Baddy. And at that point, he's the greatest ever. I don't know that it works like that. Like there's a time period, and there's a longevity, there's an adversity that you have to deal with. There's an adversity that he's dealing with right now, and he's working his way through. It's a very interesting pick. Ilia for greatest of all time. But there is going to have to be some time. We're talking about years. And they'll go very quickly, but we're talking about years. We're talking about 5 more fights. Or he could go to 170, beat Islam, and close the book on this whole thing right now. But isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? We don't call Ilia the greatest 45-pounder of all time, but we do give that distinction to a guy that Ilia shut off. So we talk about to be the greatest of all time, he's got to have this longevity, he's got to fight 5 more guys, and he's got to deal with all these things. Well, or he could just go beat Islam right now. Do you agree? Do you agree with me? Because I hear so many of you push back. I hear you guys do this with Jordan all the time, that he has six rings. Why do you have to have 6 rings to be the best? Why? He was either the best or he wasn't. Do you know what you're looking at enough to determine who the best is, or are you just reading resumes? There's a massive difference. Who had the better career is a much easier conversation for a much less sophisticated person. You can have a low IQ and not understand what you're looking at and then start reading resumes off and act like you're a smart guy because you got these things memorized. That's not the same thing as being able to look at fighters and say this is the greatest of all time, because the current greatest of all time, George St-Pierre, is predicting that that's going to go to Ilia. It's a very big compliment. What would Ilia have to do? Stay undefeated, stay champ, dominate 155. That could possibly do it, but it's not a guarantee. A guarantee? Forget about those 5 fights. A guarantee. Beat Islam. Now.